Yo, what's good? I just have a little data analysis session here. This is all about um, candle bodies and volatility ranges and on the 9 a.m. bar. Essentially, that's a lot of nonsense topic to just say what are some statistics about 9 a.m. 60-minute bars. Okay, so for the NQ, this is for the NQ. 60-minute bars, average candle body. Usually it's average range, average true range, but it's very similar. And I think you can apply this to average true range as well, because I did do a study on that as well. But, and it's similar. I remember it to be very, very, very similar results. So here it is. So, you know how that's average? Let's just take a look at the chart right now. What you see right here is, average range, right? So this is not counting data because I have it on a time segment. So like right here, the average is the red line, right? That's the average true range. So that means from if the low doesn't change and the high goes all the way up, then it hits the average right here. So it's not a moving average. This is literally an average true range of each candle. So the average range, all of these bars inside of this, none of these became average. These are small bars, and that's what it is, right? They're small bars. They're not average, mostly because I have the day session. It counts for the day session, so that overnight action's always going to be smaller than average. I mean, usually. So, anyways, so that's what this means. And then the gray line is just one standard deviation more than the average. So when relating it to this data, this statistics, if price gets to be greater than one standard deviation on the 60-minute 9 a.m. bar. So remember, the market opens at 8:30. So pre-market, it'll be 8 a.m. till 9 a.m. That window, 8:30 as the open, it includes 30 minutes before the open and 30 minutes after the open. This is a very unique 60-minute bar. So that's why I did the study on it. So 9 a.m. 60-minute bars, if price gets to be greater than one standard deviation, that means the bar happens to go all the way up to the red line, actually past the red line, past average, and goes to one standard deviation. Now, what happens? Well, here's what happens. 35% of the time that happens, okay? Only 35% of the time, just 1/3, they get to be greater than one standard deviation. But 42% of these bars actually closes greater than one standard deviation. So you got a 60% chance that it actually comes back within, the average. It goes up to greater than one standard deviation, pierces that, and then closes underneath it somewhere. And that's 60% likely, okay? 44% of these bars actually get to be a greater than two standard deviations. So it goes one standard deviation, then you got a 40% chance that it's going to continue on to two standard deviations. So that's important too. That's definitely important. 21% of these bars actually close greater than two standard deviations. And I think I highlighted that. I did this data poll in 2021. I mean, it's 2024 right now, and I'm just looking at it again. I'm just looking through my research, and I'm actually going to pull this out and use it because 21% of these bars actually close greater than two standard deviations. So that's very unlikely. That's 80% chance. So if you look at this, if the bar this is one standard deviation right here, and the bar goes up there, you can pretty much bank on it not, look at it. You can bank on it closing less than two standard deviations. So this is one. Let's say two is right here. So if the bar, this list happens to be the 9 a.m. bar, let's say it goes up to here, basically you can 80% chance that this thing is not going to break, is not going to close here. So you can basically bet that this thing is going to come down at least until it closes less than 2 standard deviations. Somewhere within this window. Somewhere within this window it's going to close, and you can get out at the close. You can short greater than 2 standard deviations, and you can get out somewhere less than 2 standard deviations whenever it closes. And I guarantee you it's profitable. I mean, it's 80% likely. You don't get 80% very much in trading, and this is that. So, and this is past 10,000 bars. Granted, it's only about 397 samples. That's 307 samples. I mean, that's a good study. That's a really good study. That's enough data. So 22%. So yeah. So 80% of the bars. Look, they're not gonna close. They go up to 1 standard deviation, but they're not gonna close less than 2. So you can start shorting. They're not gonna close greater than 2. Excuse me. About 20% of these bars actually get to 3 standard deviations. So, and then it tails off. So if it gets a 1 standard deviation plus 1 standard deviation, only, let's say add these up to each other, 28%, let's say 30% can get above 3 standard deviations. So if you go, I can probably put on the standard deviation lines, to be honest with you. But yeah, we got 2 standard deviation lines right here. I just didn't want to clutter the chart, I suppose. So now we got 2 standard deviation lines up there. Let's go to a 9 a.m. 60-minute bar. I'm going to drop to 60-minute because we can now compare apples to apples. I just want to make sure I have nothing else on. Yeah, we're good. So what's a 9 a.m. bar? Probably one of these big ones. This is the last 9 a.m. bar right here. So 9 a.m. bars right here. There you go. That's the one. So this went above average, but not above 1 standard deviation. So this is a pretty average bar. So it's not really comparable in this one. But anyways, 20% of these bars actually close less than ACB. So I don't know. I mean, 80% of these bars close under 2 standard deviations. So you can basically bet if it goes far like this, you can start shorting this high, betting that it won't go past 2 standard deviations because it's likely not to. So if it goes this, it's likely not to. 80% likely that it will not get, at least it won't close greater than 2 standard deviations. Now these, just not much of the time it goes 1 standard deviation. So, and additionally, only 1/3 of the time it actually goes above 1 standard deviation. So if it gets near there, you can start shorting it if it gets near there, because you know that only 1/3 of the time it even gets above there, let alone break 2 standard deviations, So, but the tricky part of this is a stop loss. And I think that I don't want to make it seem easy. And I'm now realizing it's not that simple, because if you really look at the stats, if it gets above 1 standard deviation, there's a 44% chance that it'll actually go greater than 2. Not close greater than 2, but if it gets to this first gray line, now it's a 44% chance that it'll get to this second gray line. So it really doesn't diminish very much. I'm looking for, it goes above 2. There's like a 10% chance that it'll go above 3. That's a tradable opportunity. In this scenario, it's not. I'm struggling finding something like that. I'm struggling finding that 90%, trading opportunity. It doesn't seem to be. Now, what does seem to be is there's only a 20% chance that it'll close greater than 2. So I'm just saying the problem is you do have to have your stop loss somewhere and just bank on it. Okay, reaching 2 greater than 2, but then coming down and closing less than 2 standard deviations. That's 80% likely. However, it's a risk because where do you place your stop? It has a 40% chance of breaking that 2 standard deviation line, so you can't have your stop there. But it's a 20% chance that it'll close above there. That's good. But where do you place your stop? You got to place it far away or something. And we don't want that because there's always those flukes that go straight to your stop. There's always going to be that. So if you try to never have a stop loss hit, then it's not going to work. Obviously, we want to have a good opportunity. We don't want to lose ever, but you can't just throw you can't just have a stop loss way, 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 way up here because one loss is just going to cost all those wins. So we're trying to find a balance. Keep it within 50-50. I don't know, 50-50 win rate, something like that. Or maybe more. I don't know, depending on what the setup is. Anyways, if price gets above 2 standard deviations now, only 15% of these bars. Oh my gosh, look at that. Sorry. If it goes above 2 standard deviations, what are the odds? So we're up here now. What are the odds it'll go 3? You're like, no way. This thing is overextended. It's gone 2 standard deviations. This is already a very unique bar. It's 2 standard deviations. This is like the 5% sample. This is not very many trades. Look at 15%. Only 15% of the time it goes above 2. What are the odds it'll go 3? Not very many. Oh, yeah? It's 50%. 50% of the time it gets to 3. So if it goes to 2, it's still another coin toss to go 3. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't think I really absorbed this fact that each price movement in the market is a unique event by itself. You know how coin tosses aren't connected. So like if coin toss is 9 in a row, what's the odds it'll go 10 in a row? Well, starting from 1, the odds of going 10 heads in a row are very slim. But if you're at 9 heads in a row and then the last one, the odds are 50-50 because you recalculate the odds. You recalculate it, and now it's still a 50-50 chance that the head's going to be hit. And in the same thing in the marketplace, if the market moves so far in one direction, you're like, no way it can go that direction still. The odds are the same. And I'm not even saying go long either. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the odds are pretty much the same. It goes 2 standard deviations. It's still a coin toss if it's going to go 3 or not. And I just find that remarkable. I just find that remarkable because my bias has been and is somewhat changing now, but still it's ingrained in me that the market's overextended. It's gone too far. It's time to short. It's gone 2 standard deviations. No way. I mean, this is oddball. This shouldn't happen. You're going to short it. And you could get away with it, but the thing is, your bias is wrong. The bias is wrong, because it's still you recalculate the odds at that point, and it's so weird. It is weird because the market that you see, the chart before you is all connected. It's the same product. It's waves, and it's the same thing, and it's connected, but it really isn't. Each bar, if it goes down this far right here, it can choose now at this point, at at this point it chooses to go up or down, and it's the same odds. um but unless we have statistics, but I'm basically saying the odds are just recalculated here, not here. We don't string things together because the market is essentially, what I'm saying, it's not connected, and most people think it is, and I think that's one of the most misunderstood things about the market. And I'm just getting to that point of maturity in that, but I don't even think I'm all the way there. But that statistic really stands out. And that's basically my point of this video, that if it gets one standard deviation, what's the chance it'll get two? 44%. I mean, that's pretty much near coin toss. That's near a coin toss, man. I mean, what are the odds it'll go one? Or what are it goes one, what are the odds it'll go two? Pretty much 50-50. If it goes two, what are the odds it'll go three? Pretty much 50-50. I mean, that means market's moving really a far ways. It go boom. This is 44% chance they'll go two. Okay. It can come down. Okay, what if it goes up to two? You're like, wow, that's a big bar now. No way it'll go three. Yeah, I mean, there's a 50% chance. Remember, at a 2-to-1, now we flip the coin. We flip the coin one more time. The coin toss didn't begin at the start. If that was the case, the odds of it going two standard deviations are very slim. It's 15% of the time. Are you going to doubt it now? It's already gone to. It's gone to. So you can't use the statistic that it won't go to. You can't use the statistics that it won't close greater than two, because you're using that at the very start of the bar, the stats of the very start of the bar. I'm saying if the bar ends up going two standard deviations, at that point, flip the coin again. At that point, reevaluate what are the possibilities at that point in time. And the point is, it's 50% likely to go up or down. It's another 50% likely. So you're like, okay, this thing's way overextended. What are the odds it goes greater than three? Excuse me, greater than three. Go to four standard deviations. 60% of the time. So if it goes three again, it's another coin toss to go four. And you're like, bro, this is a monster candle. And you're right, it is a monster candle. It only happens 8% of the time. It only happens 5% of the time to go to four standard deviations. The thing is, it doesn't slow down. The market isn't overextended, even though it looks overextended, because based on you think that it's all connected. And the thing is, it's not. It's every single time the market is there, the market's live, we reevaluate statistics of where it is now. And the odds are not always 50-50. Look, I'm hunting for things that are not 50-50. But what I see from these stats are that this is not where we find the answer, because it's all 50-50s here. Whether the candle's this way, whether the candle's like this, it's 50% likely to go up to a 3 or close under. What are the odds that it'll close under one standard deviation? Um, 60, 58%. Yeah, 58% of the time. So 6 out of 10 that it closes underneath. It's not quite 50-50, but pretty close. It's pretty close. But 40% likely to go to 2. Now at 2, it's a 50-50 chance to go to 4. And now you're like, dude, got a short. Nope. It's a 50-50 chance that it'll go to 5 or 4 5, sorry. That was 3. So it'll 4, 50% chance of going to 4. Yeah. Actually 60% chance, but whatever. Very similar. It's still a coin toss, and that's the point. It's all disconnected. Each movement is different. And we have to reevaluate statistics at where price is currently, not where price started at, not where whatever. We can't. I know that's how we think. It's like, oh, it started up here. It's gotta, what about this green movement? Like, it started down here. What are the odds that it does this yank of price without a red candle? It's probably low. But the thing is, it's already done it. It's already done it. Now what's the statistics on it? After it having been done. That's the point. So, like, it's the exact same thing as those coin toss examples. Look, it went heads 9 times in a row. No way it can go 10 times in a row. And that's gambler's fallacy. It's folly. It's not actually true. It makes sense. Look, I've flipped coins by myself. Whatever. No, not with friends. Doesn't fucking matter. I'm just saying I flipped coins and I did the experiment by myself, thinking like, no freaking way. I didn't even trust Excel random algorithm to flip the coin for me, bro. I flipped the fucking coin. And I was variable around it and like, no way. I'm going to get so many in a row. It has to go the other way. And it's so random, bro. It's random, and you can't argue with the stats. And you can't argue with this either. It's the market goes up 10 times in a row. It's not likely that the market goes up 11 times in a row. But the thing is, it's already gone up 10. Now you have to reevaluate what are the odds the market will go up in one day. Regardless of what's to the left of it, regardless of what has already occurred. And that is really that is a thorough understanding of statistics, of probability. If we can wrap our heads around that, I do think that we'll be better off. We have to evaluate the statistics of where price is now. It doesn't actually matter how far it's happened, that's a gambler's fallacy. That's classic, and it's wrong. It's incorrect. It's out of good common sense, but it's incorrect. Common sense that doesn't prevail. I mean, it's not true. It's mathematically not true, bro. It's proven. I'm like, no way it can go 11 times in a row. The thing is, it's gone 10, dude. It's defied normal probability. There's always error, and that's what happens. And you flip the coin, it can go frickin' 10 times heads in a row. It can. And you might think that you want to bet against it on the 11th turn, but you have to somehow understand that you have to look right. Don't look in the past, look in the future and where it is now. You have to reevaluate everything. Reevaluate where it is now. And that's how you do it, in my opinion. All right. Deuces, my friends. Peace.